Rich Lowe, Pilot Legacy, on site of the Stanton, Lockhart, Texas, with our September 2023 investor update. Since last month's update, we've had quite a bit of concrete work performed around the site. From the aerial shot on the north side looking south, you can see that 2/3 of pad site 7 has been poured, with the pouring of pad 8 and 9 being fully complete. Crews will be coming out next week to place the initial loads on the post-tension cables of pad 7 part 2 in anticipation for pouring that remaining portion shortly thereafter. Recall that building 7 will be a 36-unit dwelling. Due to the massive size of the slab, it is being poured in 2 phases. Building 11 will also have 36 units and therefore will also undergo the same 2-phase pouring sequence you see taking place at pad 7. What you're looking at here is TSI Laboratories post-tension inspection report for Building 7 Pour 1, hot off the presses as of today. There are a total of 93 half-inch post-tension cables annotated by strand ID, strand number, and then initial cable length. What follows is a series of data that describes each strand's initial condition prior to tensioning and an end condition following their final tensioning. Recall there is a nominal amount of tension applied to the cables during the initial pour. Once the concrete is cured approximately 10 days, the final tension is placed on the cables. The final amount of force applied to each cable is 5,300 pounds or 5.3 kips. To the left of the required and actual gauge reading numbers of 5,300, you can see there is a calculated amount of required cable elongation to achieve the 5,300 pounds of force, followed by the amount of actual elongation required. Sometimes more pull is required to achieve the desired load, sometimes less is required, but the bottom line is this: you want every PT cable to be loaded to 5,300 pounds, resulting in 0% deviation from that which the structural engineer required. As you can see from this lab report for pad 7 pour 1, we got a fantastic result. Well, we only had 2 inclement weather days in September. Of course, wouldn't you know it, on September 14th, the day we poured pad 9, we got one of them with a heavy rain occurring during the pour. Looking at the time-lapse footage for Building 9, you can see that it really didn't impair the pour that day or the outcome. TSI Laboratories post-tension cable report for Building 9 also indicates an excellent result with execution according to specs. Axia informed us that because we've had such excellent weather overall, the plumbing team has gotten way out in front of the foundation crews. The stubbing in of utilities for pads 10 and 11 are now complete. And in the coming days, Cherry Valley crews will commence placing forms and cutting the beams into the select fill, placing the poly and cables, and then pouring the remaining concrete. I'm out here on a Friday and things are pretty quiet around the site. There's not a lot of folks out here. We're just waiting for Cherry Valley to return on site and pour pad 7 part 2 and then resume their operations on pad sites 10 and 11. Well, moving out to Lake Lockhart, crews are continue to be hard at work placing the final grade on the future pond. Since our last update, we've had an enormous amount of bentonite clay that has been delivered on site. You can see it here behind me. Due to the loamy and porous nature of the native soil within the pond, water is absorbing rapidly and not being retained as desired. Once the grading of the retention pond is complete, the bentonite clay will be distributed across the surface and compacted, creating a much less porous pond and thereby permitting more stormwater to be retained. More than any other aspect of the Stanton project, I'm anxious to see how the joint regional detention pond shakes out in the long run. It is quite massive. Well, as a review, the contracted amount for the Stanton Phase 2 construction was $22,839,720. Recall we took on an additional charges of $188,702 associated with the discovery of the non-native fill at pad sites 10 and 11 and the additional excavation and testing required to ensure a sound foundation would follow. That left us with an updated contract amount of $23,028,422. To date, $3,943,717 has been drawn, with September's requisition totaling $1,298,324. The Stanton Phase 2 contract was executed on April 17th, 2023, with a contract completion date of November 25th, 2024. The total estimated contract time with change order delays is 588 days. As of today, September 29th, 2023, we are 28% of the way through our scheduled timeline, and I'm happy to report on budget. Well, around the neighborhood, streets and utilities continue to go in next door to the east of the Stanton, and they're going vertical to the west of the Stanton at Legacy Senior Living. Next month, we hope to have all foundations in place, with the commencement of driveway construction in and around Phase 2 taking place as well. We'll see you here next month in October.
As of today, September